These are the Comica BoomX-U Qua 4 wireless mics, and we're actually going to be going on a short field trip to show you why these are better than the DJI or Rode Wireless Go mics, and let's go. So yeah, one of the things that 2.4 gigahertz actually does is it has a lot of issues with, it's literally what every device that is internet-based is running off of, meaning you're getting tons of interference, and it's actually a lot more inefficient and a lot more inconsistent with the ability to kind of like stay on a good frequency and all that. But with these, they're UHF frequencies, which have longer wavelengths, which means they can penetrate more objects and allow me to drive down the street like this and still connect back to the camera back in my studio. And the only problem is that they have potentially illegal frequencies. Stick around for this video, we'll talk about that as well. The Comica BoomX-U Qua system has 16 levels of gain control that can be controlled on the transmitter and receiver. Auto scanning and infrared sync, low cut filters, noise filters, USB-C charging, multi-directional monitoring, and 120 meter transmission when in an open area due to the UHF frequencies we talked about before. The battery life average is around 6.5 hours and it supports charging while using it. And it has 24 channels to choose from, 4 tracks for recording, which you'll need extra equipment to use, which if you wanted to, you can spring for the 4 transmitter pack. That is around $349, or you could pick up the exact same one with UHF in it still with a 2 transmitter pack that they also sell for $199, which honestly, if you don't have a reason to record 4 tracks, I'd go with a 2 transmitter pack that I've linked below. In the case though, comes with 4 transmitters with built-in omnidirectional microphones, clips, level adjustments, other audio filter settings, inputs for lapel mics, and adjustable antennas for better signal. There's also 1 receiver with an LCD screen to monitor each transmitter with 2 different output modes. With all 4 tracks all mixed together, which I don't really know why you'd want to do that, but it's an option, and then none with 4 audio tracks outputting separately. So essentially to be able to get 4 audio outputs, you need to actually have a device with at least 2 stereo audio tracks or 4 tracks to record to, as they record mono in left and right channels. Or you could get 3.5mm cables that split left to right XLR outputs and record it true to 4 different tracks. Or you can just do it in post. But you can use just 2 if you want to with this device as well, and split them left to right as we did at NAB for our interviews, which we'll give some examples here in a second of how that worked out. This all comes included in a great bag with lapels, various cables, windscreens, and other attachments for your rig, which are quite helpful and easy to use. Granted, depending on what you're filming with, you'll likely have to get some extra cables, especially if you want to split out to all 4 of the audio signals like we talked about before. So at NAB, we actually ran into some trouble with our 2.4 gigahertz wireless packs we were using for interviews, which totally makes sense. With hundreds of vendors set up and thousands of signals coming out from various locations, that really it made it hard to use certain 2.4 gigahertz devices. So our resident Frame Voyager audio expert from Diegetic Audio decided to switch these because of the UHF frequencies, and it was night and day difference between the 2. Here are his impressions and some live use cases of the mics for actual videos we did.
Hey, Josh here with Frame Voyager, and I'm at NAB, and for the past 3 days we have been testing the Comica 4-channel wireless transmitters and receivers, and let me tell you, I am seriously impressed with these things. We haven't had any problems with these, even with all of the interference, and we've been using them pretty much for 3 days, and I'm actually using one right now. We did have an issue with the 3.5mm jack on one of them, but I'm more inclined to think that it was an issue with the mic that we chose and less with the pack that we were using. In the end, we just kind of clipped it in a shirt pocket, and that was actually with an interview with Blackmagic. It worked phenomenally. So when you're looking at this versus like the new DJI thing that just came out, there's not even a comparison. So DJI only gives you 2 channels. The only thing DJI has going for it is probably the inboard recording, even though I really don't particularly like the way that they have that set up. So I would probably purchase this before I purchased the DJI wireless Go's.
So that leaves us with UHF and why certain frequencies are restricted. So for the US, the FCC has restrictions on the 600 to 700 megahertz band and specific frequencies in 169 to 172 megahertz band as well, and some other frequencies. They usually are reserved for emergency broadcast, military communications, air traffic communication. Also, unlike the 2.4 gigahertz devices that are encoded and have private frequencies that are only supposed to connect to their own devices, UHF frequencies can be picked up and listened to by other non-native devices. So that's something to consider as well, you know, if you have privacy concerns depending on what you're filming with these. It looks like, though, for the US, this device operates safely in the 568 to 591 megahertz range, so we should be good here in the US, though I'm not a frequency law expert, so be sure to check for yourself before you use it, as it can vary from country to country. But these microphones appear to be safe to use, and you get to reap the benefits of using channels that not a lot of other devices are operating at, so it's awesome. That brings us to the last question of who are these mics for? And if you're a wedding videographer or a travel vlogger or make TikTok videos or any kind of content where you just need this to be easy and a fast solution, and you're kind of tired of just those 2.4 gigahertz wireless mics dropping out constantly and you having to refilm stuff, these are probably the mics, after all the ones I've tested, from Rode Wireless Go's to the Harmonic mics, that I actually feel like I get what I was promised with these. An easy solution that you can clip on, film, and not have to worry about the audio dropping at all. And if you're interested in what the other mics have had issues with, like I'm talking about, you can check out this other wireless mic review we did and see the difference. These were great too, but definitely don't have as much as the range and have a little bit more dropout issues than these mics right here. So check this video out.